Hey everyone, I'm Jen, and I own a veterinary technician relief business.
And I'm Michelle. I own a veterinary technician mobile house call business.
And you are
And you are
listening
listening
to
to
Endless
Endless
Journeys,
Journeys,
the Vet
the
Tech
Vet Tech
Odyssey
Odyssey
podcast.
podcast.
In this podcast, we will be discussing and meeting with credentialed technicians who have created their own path with business ownership within the veterinary space.
Our goal is to help inspire burnt out vet techs before they leave the industry altogether through our stories and the stories of other vet tech business owners.
All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
Good morning. I hope everybody's listening on their Monday morning commute to work.
Yes, yes. How
Yes.
are you, Michelle?
Now it's kind of like Monday evening for us. So did all my Monday chores, hanging out with you, went through some podcast notes. I had a great week last week. I worked a whole 22 and a half hours. So, that's heavier week compared to the week before, I guess.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, I know like the week before I did like 18 hours and I felt like I didn't work that much, but I did 22 and a half and I saw 47 appointments.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So it was a nice fun week, but I'm kind of like a little tired and recuperating this week still.
Mm-hmm.
So how about you?
Same. I'd say the same. I worked a 20-hour week last week. I only worked 2 days. We recorded a podcast last week, so I would count that as a work day as well.
Those are work days for sure.
Yeah, those are work
Yeah,
days.
those are work days. We just work at
So,
home.
yeah, I would say, yeah, so then I worked 3 days last week. And then I had my weekend, which I decided to be a lazy POS all weekend. And I normally don't do that, but every now and then you just need it. So my husband went camping without me, and I was fine with that because it rained all weekend anyway, and I was like, I don't want to camp in the rain. So I ate Thai food all weekend and drank my wine, and I have a hot tub, so I hot tubbed. I read my books that I love to read, which is really hard. I only get to read them when my husband's not home. So, and then I re-binge watched my Vampire Diaries. So I had a
Nice.
fabulous weekend. But now when it came to my Monday, I think that I feel like I was maybe a little bit too bummy because my body was like, all right, day 4, and I'm like, no, not day 4. We need to get up. We got stuff to do. I gotta go to the gym. I gotta get ready. So my body does not acclimate well when I don't do, especially when, like, if I don't work out and stuff like that. My body's like, oh, this is what we're doing now, and I'm like, no, only for a couple days. We just our rest days. So back to it now.
Now I feel the same after like if I've laid around all weekend and I've spent like $40 on the couch, like it's harder for me to do something versus if I just like stay like a little active over the weekends. I do have those
Yeah.
weekends where I'll stay home all weekend, but then other weekends when I'm doing like brunch with my friends or shopping, like I'm not as frumpy come Monday morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's definitely how I felt. I was just like, nope. Like, got stuff to do. It's your new week now. So
Yes. I feel like that comes again old. Your body's just like, no, we prefer laying around. You gotta like force those old bones up and you're just like, come on, get up off the
oh, I
ground.
know. And I know, like, like I said, I don't do it very often, but if I lay on the couch all weekend and I don't do anything, my body hurts so
Mine
much.
too.
Even just like today, like my body was hurting, and then I did leg day, and even just like sitting here and then getting back up every now and then, like my body is in so much pain. And I just know, like, if I don't move around periodically, or like I said, if I don't work out and go to the gym, just sitting around, it hurts my body. So I can't do it very often. So,
Yeah.
but I needed it. I was so exhausted. Like I said, I was so exhausted on Friday. My plan is that I was supposed to go camping, and my husband got home early from work, and then he just started like running around like he always does, and I was just like, I don't think I'm gonna go. And he didn't think I was serious. He's like, whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. I don't think I'm gonna go. And he's like, okay. And he kept doing what he was doing. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm not going. And he's like, what? Which, again, it's very rare that I don't do that. Pretty much do everything together. But I don't know. Like I said, every now and then, I really like my alone time, and I don't really get a lot of that anymore. So it was fine. It worked out for me.
Yeah, I love my alone time. I'm all up for it. I love my husband, but the rare times like he does like go away for a weekend for like a friend's trip or something. Oh, yeah. I'm like ordering sushi. Like I'm like,
Right?
yeah,
Like,
like
what
I
is it
don't get
about?
out
It's
of my
like
robe.
sushi or Asian food, or like mine was Thai
Yeah.
food this weekend, and now it's
Yeah.
like I'm making it last the whole weekend long, baby. I'm just like, I'm getting
Like,
all the food, like every
yes.
lunch and every dinner and every like midnight snack was like my Thai food.
Yes.
So,
It's like something special about being home alone sometimes. It's just like,
hmm
and again, I love my husband, but even I know I travel way more than he does. Like I do a lot of like weekend trips to my sister's house, and I can tell he gets excited when I'm going because he's like, "What time are you leaving again? What time are you leaving?" I'm like, "Oh, you want me gone out the door?" But also like I think it's because like I'm like one of those weird freaks where if I have to leave the house for like vacation or something, I like have to have everything deep cleaned. Like all the dishes are done. I go get him groceries and make sure like he's got his snacks and
oh,
his
that's so
food.
nice.
Yeah, make sure like yeah, all of his laundry's done. So I think he's like that's like the one time I actually like clean
hmm
and take care of him. He's like, yes. So he's yeah, it's funny because he's like, aren't you going away this week? And I'm like, no. He's like, are you? And I'm like, fuck you. So, but yeah, he's a homebody and I usually go out. But no, it's for myself. I got a pedicure this weekend and I got a massage. I did
Oh,
that.
nice. And then
Hmm.
I sent you a text the day that I got my facial, right?
Yes, you said you're going to
Yeah.
get facials again.
Yeah, because
That's fast.
so when I started to own my own business, I stopped all of what I thought was basically unnecessary spending because I was trying to save money. And, I feel like, I feel like maybe a lot of people do that. I know I for sure did that. I basically, even like as far as like, streaming services, I was like, okay, I don't need six streaming services. Like I can have two. Okay, I can have Netflix and HBO. I don't need that many. So I was like cutting down on things. And now that it's been pretty close to my year, and the money's just fine, if not as much as it was before, I, talk to Michelle a lot and she gets her facials and she does her massages, and I was like, you know what? I need to go back to that. I have a really good skincare that I do every single day, but I used to get facials since I was like 13, and they're just really nice. They're so enjoyable. It's good for your face. It's good to keep up on your skincare. So yeah, I decided I'm going to start doing at least facials every other month and then massages every other month from there. So I need to get back into it, especially with my workout routine and everything, and with strength training. I know I don't stretch. That's one really bad no-no that I don't do. And so I think that at least the massages will at least help.
Yes, they're great. When I get a massage, like I say like 20 minutes out of the hour, it's spent like stretching me and pulling me.
Right, and I need that.
Yeah. It's great because I feel so better afterwards. I'm like, woo, I get out of there. I'm like, okay, I'm better.
Yeah,
Like a dog that comes out of water.
I hate stretching so much, and again with my workout routine is about an hour anyway, and I am that person, and I have always tried to change it and I can't, where I feel like I never have enough time in the day to do anything. And so I'm like, I don't have time to stretch. I barely have time to work out. I barely have time to take a shower. I barely have time to eat my lunch. I barely have time to do this before. Yeah, so it's just like I can't take the time to stretch. That's not going to happen. So, massages should be the next best thing, right?
They are. I mean, I feel like they're very therapeutic. I feel
Mhm.
like, I mean, especially,
Relaxing.
yeah. And I feel like, so here's a level professional I think that massage therapy's at. I think it was like 6 months ago, I was getting one of my massages and they don't know what I do for work. Like, I don't go around telling everybody what I do. Like, and I remember the girl was like, do you drive all day? I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
how did you know? And I guess there's must have been extra muscle tension that I had in my driver's arm or something. And I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, I can tell. And I'm like, you are a wizard. Okay, you do what you got to do up there. Like, yeah, they knew just by that I drive all day. So it's very therapeutic and they know what they're doing. So if you're in a clinic, like, go get those massages. Do it on when you
Yeah.
got the next day off because you might be sore, really sore. I was pretty sore the
Yeah.
next day.
And
Yeah.
there's
So,
some pretty like cheap masseuses out there. You just have to like do your research a little bit. And then we even have one uh I was talking to my esthetician and she was like, "Oh yeah, there's a masseuse that I know that'll actually go to your house and do massages if you don't have the time to to leave, like, or if you have kids or something." It's one of those things. So, if there's a will, there's a way. So, it's just
mhm.
one of those things. Sometimes you have to sacrifice some things in order to have the nice things, and I feel like that's a little bit of what I do. And there's just, little daily pleasures that I don't have, but it makes up the facials and the massages make up for that. They make it 100 times worth it. So,
And my husband always says it's not an investment, but I feel like when you get a massage or a facial, like you're investing in yourself.
oh
I'm
yeah,
like, that's an investment, honey.
it is.
I'm like, yeah, because my job is physically demanding still, so I need the massages, and
Mhm.
I want to look good because I'm superficial. Like I
Well,
just want
also,
to look good, so
I
I get
mean,
my
for women,
facials.
right? Like, let's think as from a woman's perspective. Men, they can just shut off their brains very easily, and they can just literally have two crickets playing racquetball up there. Like there ain't nothing going on up there. And that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm so jealous of that. I wish I could have that. Me as a woman, and I don't know if it's because I'm a little bit neurodivergent or I have ADHD, but my brain is constantly on the go. I can never just shut it off. Like there's just like
Phew.
I mean, unless I'm sleeping, that's the only time. But I notice that when I go and get a facial or when I get a massage, it's really one of the only times where I can just sit there and kind of just think about nothing and just try to focus on, and it's almost like a meditation. And
Mm.
I can't just go in my living room and meditate. Like you have all those gurus that are like, oh, or I feel like with a lot of mental health stuff, even in vet med, they're like, oh, meditation's great. And it's like, I don't think any of us have the mental capacity to meditate. And if you do, like, good for you, because I can't just sit down and just think I can't do that. But I can do it when I'm getting a massage or when I'm getting a facial. So it's literally just a time for my brain to be able to shut off and focus on just focus on what's going on at that moment and to just be in the present. I feel like it's really, really hard for women to do that. So I don't think men understand that in a sense of like, hey, it's the only time where we can literally just relax, like 100% actually
Yes.
relax, because it is so hard for us to relax.
Yeah, I don't relax. My brain is always thinking. I
Yeah,
don't shut it off. Even like during my massage, I was like, oh, I need to run this past Jen for the podcast, or I need to,
right,
text back Fluffy's mom.
right.
Even during my massage, I had that going on in my head. I'm like, oh, just try to forget it. But um, this reminded me, this is kind of some juicy tea, a little bit tidbit here. I don't know how the company I worked for pulled off, but I forgot they did this before COVID when I was working in that corporation in their home office. Girl, they had a masseuse come in once a month for everybody in the leadership team and the workers?
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we got massages too. I remember like getting a massage there. So it wasn't just like leadership, it was like everybody in home
Oh
office.
my gosh, that's really
And
nice.
yeah, I thought it was kind of cool, but I'm like, how do they freaking work expense that? Because I asked my accountant if I could do the same, and he's like, no. But I'm like, I can argue with the government, like it's for my body, and I use my body. And he was like, I can't argue that one for you, Michelle. So I always wonder back, like, how do they work expense that? But yeah, I mean, that tells you that there's budget for your mental health and physical well-being if you're in a corporation
Well,
because
and I
they did
know
it for
some
mine.
places can do it for like gym memberships. Like they can write
Yeah,
off gym memberships, and I feel like that's pretty similar
yeah, I
because
think so
it's
too.
wellness and well-being.
Yeah, so I actually worked for a veterinarian who she does a lot of exotics, but she used to work in a zoo setting that had an aquarium. And I remember her telling me that they would pay for the trainers of like the dolphins and the whales and all those guys. They would pay for their gym memberships because they had to be physically fit to perform their job. I remember telling me that because I was like, oh, that's
Well,
a
and I
nice
know some
perk.
vet clinics that have done it too.
Yeah, they should. If you're in a vet clinic, come on, give your employees
Yeah,
some of
they
these
should. That would
perks.
be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, just if you can figure out how to work expense, let me know because I've tried running it past my financial planner and my accountant. They're like, no. So I tried. Okay. So starting with off this week, it's a little weird. We normally go right into like our highlights and our lowlights. But if you have been listening to us consistently, I believe it was like 2 episodes ago when we did the hot tea segment, um, about the pet ER.
When the vet's closed?
Yes, when the vet's closed. Yes, when we did that episode, the hot tea on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I actually saw this and I wanted to kind of circle back because I actually
It's
thought this was
more than 2 episodes ago. I'm gonna tell you that
was
right
it two
now.
episodes?
It's
Okay.
gonna be more than 2 episodes ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
We are
so
burning through these episodes like
we
no
are.
other. You have no idea.
My gosh. So, yeah. Um, I even though this is really sad, there is a pet ER in Columbia, Maryland that is closing down because we don't want to see any clinic close down, especially ER. But I I give them credit because the news was made on August 11th that they were shutting their doors on September 29th. And I imagine that they let the employees know way before the news outlets knew about it. So that gave employees like at least 7 weeks, I would say, to prepare to find a new job. So I just want to say, as terrible it is that another clinic is closing down, especially ER, I want to give them credit for not doing it overnight and sending out a freaking email.
Right.
Like, so whoever's in charge of that over at Pet ER, Columbia, Maryland, like, thank you for having the kind courtesy to give your employees notice and not just shutting the doors. Because when I saw
Yeah.
that, I just wanted to follow up and just give my 2 cents on that from when we did the hot tea about the vets closing several episodes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is a lot nicer and to give people fair warning. So
Yeah.
that's a great thing for them to do. But it's an unfortunate situation still.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but at least it sounds like they at least have some respect for their employees. So,
Right. Yeah.
yes. And so, other than that, this week, highlights, lowlights, Jen, what's in your world?
So I know that we did the highlights and lowlights on Thursday, and I haven't worked since then. So I don't really have anything.
I have a couple things.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's right. We recorded Thursday and today's Monday.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
right. We recorded our Kim episode, so it's been like 5 days.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I don't
gee.
really have anything.
Okay, well, I have one kind of really sad low light, but the highlight was this is like harvest season here in Michigan. And this time of year, my clients are like the freaking best. I don't have to go get produce this time of year
Oh,
because
nice.
they're all gardening, they're all harvesting their gardening. Yeah, all my clients are doing their harvesting, and I have so much vegetables. So that just means the world to me that when they're out there picking their cucumbers and their tomatoes, like on the table, like they have it ready for me. And so, yeah, Kit Kat's mom and Zuma and Flo's mom, thank you for the produce. I will definitely be eating those cucumbers tomorrow while I'm out on the route. So that was my highlight. Just I have freaking awesome clients, man.
Oh, that's
Oh,
so nice.
I love them. Like I said, it's no longer your DVM's name on the door. It's your name on the door. Like, gotta love my clients.
Right?
Yes, which I guess is kind of a good thing that we're doing this episode on because we are going to be talking about some client interactions, at least on my part, and on this episode. And this is the reason why I'm always like protect your good ones. But I want to give a little bit of an update about Kiki. I'm not going to get too upset, but here she is for those of you who are seeing. Here's little Kiki. She is my 12-year-old spayed female Yorkie mix, not Yorkie poo, but Yorkie mix, right? Bless you. Oh, and I think I told you guys we were at a referral center a few weeks ago that she had some kidney stones.
Yeah.
They did a urinalysis on her, and the doc called me back. I didn't hear back for a while, so I'm like, no news is good news, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so doc told me that there are some suspicious cells going on, but if there is, she is confident that we detected something early because when they were scanning her, they didn't see anything. So they want to go back and rescan her here. I think our appointment's exactly 4 weeks from tomorrow. We'll be going and scanning to make sure there's no tumors like in the bladder. So, but
Yeah.
she did say there's some funny looking cells, and I have to be realistic. My dog is 12 years old. You know, she's no longer a spring chicken. She's, on old lady supplements like myself. And, it just sucks because I know I have pet insurance for her. I have a great referral center right up the road for me. I have good access to care. I'm on top of everything. But it's a very sad feeling knowing that, she's 12 and things are starting to not go good. And I can throw everything at it all I want all day long, but no dogs live forever. So, ugh,
Ugh, I'm
yeah,
sorry. Ugh.
yeah, yeah. Trying to just,
I know it's. I mean, and that's why I ended up getting Todd because people are out there like, why a third dog? I'm like, because my golden retriever is 7 and my last golden retriever died at 8 from cancer.
mm,
And so I'm like, because you never know what's going to
you never
happen.
know. Yeah,
And yeah, ugh, I know once they reach a certain age, it's almost just like every single day that you have with them, you're just like, oh, thank you. And then, and then you just, and you know, especially with me, I guess I didn't see it as much when I worked in general practice, but working in ER, everything you see is horrible and everything you see has cancer and everything you see is just so it's just like you just think and you just think of the worst every single time.
yeah.
I so I hope that it's nothing bad and I don't know, maybe it was just some fluke thing that they saw,
She said it
but
could have been. Yeah, she was like, "Well, let's not go down that road yet." But she's like, "You're a vet
right,
tech, so you're
baby
probably already
steps.
going down that road." I'm like, "Oh, you know it, doc. I'm already thinking that." So
Right.
we're doing all the appropriate steps. We got the appointment made. I will be taking her. So I'm like, let's just throw everything at it. But
Right.
just another reminder that she's not going to be around forever. So I'm
Right.
just gonna, at the ripe old age of 12, I'm just gonna hug her and love her every moment I get. But I will keep everybody posted because. And most of you don't know, Kiki actually sits next to me all day when we're doing these podcasts. She is right by my side all day. She's like the unofficial third member that just doesn't talk very much. You might occasionally hear her bark, but she's with me a lot. So we'll just we're keep an eye on it and I'll update everybody as we go. So that was probably the low part of the week for me, unfortunately.
Mm, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yes, yeah. So, but let's try to do happy stuff, right? Happy. Question of the week. So we have actually a pretty good one this week. I think we're gonna get two different perspectives on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to read it off, Jen?
Sure.
Okay.
So our question of the week was pulled from the Unattached Vet Tech group this week. It's gonna start off with pet sitters. Anyone ever have to take a pet to the vet while under your care for non-life-threatening care, i.e., diarrhea, vomiting, etc.? If so, what do you charge? So, did you want to answer first, Michelle, or did you want me
Yeah,
to go first?
I can go first just so I can get my story quickly out of the way.
Okay.
Okay. I had it happen one time, and I am very fortunate. One of my OG clients, and they were like the supreme clients to have. So their dog, we were playing fetch. It was back when I actually did dog walking and pet sitting. I don't do it anymore. But I was playing fetch with the dog, and at some point, she must have landed on a stick and she came back limping and her dew claw was torn, and her owners are human doctors, right? So of course I call them and he's like, well, I'm comfortable with you removing it. And I was like, well, that's the thing, I can't. Like, if he wanted me to kind of just pull the nail off, and which is what her vet ended up doing, but I told him, I was like, well, sorry, I can't because then I'm going on my license. So he was like, okay, let me call the vet. They were 30 minutes away and he got her in right away, but I took her. So I took her right from the dog park, right to the vet. And I was in there for 15 minutes, and all in all, an hour and 15 minutes between the drive there and back. I didn't even have to ask because my clients are so awesome. They just deposited $100 in my Venmo. I didn't even have to ask them. They're just like, here you go. Here, thank you for taking her to the vet. All the while, my heart was throbbing and pumping because I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, because at some point it was my fault because, I mean, but you can't bet that a dog's not going to land on a stick if you're playing fetch. Like, it's just a fluke accident. And she was fine. Everything grew back normally. But yeah, her DVM just, took it off and wrapped it and she was good to go. But that's my only instance that I've ever had in that situation. I didn't have to ask, but I would assume you'd want to charge for your time. Think of how much you make an hour and charge for that time. But if you're at the veterinary clinic for, let's say, several hours, I probably wouldn't want to charge my clients. It depends on the relationship you have with them. You got to get paid for your time, but then again, you don't want to make the appearance that you're gouging, even though we know we're not because we have to get paid for our time just like any other job. So I feel like it's a sticky situation and you just got to know who your owners are. And this is again why for myself, I don't pet sit, I don't dog walk, but I had niched down my clientele by that time to where I knew if a situation ever happened like that, my owners were just like, yeah, sure, here's $100 and deposit it right in my account. I didn't have to ask. I didn't have to have that awkward, like, hey, so anyway, I drove 30 minutes one way and waited for 15 minutes and drove 30 minutes the other way. They're just like, here you go. And I was like, God, I'm lucky to have them. And unfortunately, that dog passed away. But
Mm.
again, human doctors, very good owners, and you just got to kind of evaluate the situation. Jen, you work in a veterinary clinic, so I'm sure you see situations like this quite often where the pet sitter brings them in.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I don't really work with them. I don't like I'm not the CSR or anything, or even the vet assistants are the ones that triage, so I'm the one that takes care of it. Um I don't I think that I don't really have much to say on how much you charge, or I mean, I feel like it's I mean, I don't know what that pet sitter is already getting paid. I don't know what what their agreement was with the pet sitter to begin with. I would say that a lot of times, unfortunately, the owner is not easy to get a hold of. So like when we see them and I mean, we're talking about, so this question's non-life threatening. I've only ever seen life threatening because I work in ER. So that's a little bit difficult as well. So yeah, I would say that for the most part, the communication doesn't seem to really be there. It's really difficult to get a hold of the owner. And then we usually, especially in an ER, we require payment down before we even do anything. So it's one of those situations too where I've had people call the ER and ask for our phone numbers and say, "Hey, I'm just collecting, or we're gonna have a house sitter. We're collecting all the ER's phone numbers." And then we always just say, yeah, it's a really good idea to either have your care credit card, so they have your care credit card, and also just like a little sheet of paper that says basically we are giving them full authorization to have full say of what goes on with their pet if we aren't able to get a hold of the owner. Because in some cases, some veterinary clinics won't do anything unless the owner says okay. Even like if the pet sitter comes in and they're like, well, I'm not the owner. I've worked at veterinary clinics where like, oh, well, we can't do anything until we get a permission by the owner. So,
Yeah. Now that makes sense though. It
yeah. So, I mean,
sticky.
yeah, it's always a really weird situation. Me personally, I have a pet sitter for, so we have a house sitter and they watch all of our animals. And I have two that I use. And I mean, we pay them really, really well, but I mean, and then we're gone for, up to a week to 2 weeks. And then we usually stock the house full, whoever's staying over. We say, give us a list of all the snacks, of all the food that you want. I know that Brett has gone to like the USDA meat market and he'll get like the best of the best, like New York steaks for like the person like, and yeah, so we make sure that we provide the food, and then we have a hot tub, and I feel like our house is really, really nice, so it's a nice stay. I always just try for me. I I know how difficult it is to like go and house sit for somebody and not be in your own home. So I always want to make it so that it's as pleasant as possible and as easy as possible for the house sitter when they stay at my house, so that one, they'll want to come back and they'll
Yeah,
want to
right?
do it again. um and then I also usually give like a whole list of all the vet clinics that are available, and I know a lot of people at the vet clinics too, so I'm like, and so I give them their actual phone numbers on top of the clinic phone numbers as well. So, but yeah, I mean, if they asked me, if my house sitter was like, "Hey, this is going to be an extra charge," I would pay it
Yeah.
because I'll do anything for my animals. And
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, somebody's taking the time out to go do this. But I also kind of feel like, you also make that agreement with the house sitter, though, right? Because that's the whole reason why they're there as well. So that if something happens, they're there to take care of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that was a really interesting question. It's not even
Yeah.
something that I'd ever even thought about. I don't think I would pay extra just from my own mind. But if they
Mhm.
would have asked me, then I would be like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, absolutely. I, I,
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue. So, but I think that was really nice of your owners to have done that. Like,
Fellas.
that was really awesome.
Yeah, I was so lucky with them. I actually talked about her pretty heavily in the burnout episode because her owners were so awesome. And there's that great divide between human doctors and our doctors and human nurses and our nurses. And yeah, they broke the mold on that one. So I was really fortunate to have them. And, when it, did they spoil me? No, but you know what? They had great communication. They paid me whatever I wanted. They treated me with so much respect and dignity. Um, and they were one of the first like pet sitter slash dog walking clients that I had that were actually respectful of me. So it doesn't surprise me that they're like, oh, here's, money for your time and gas. Um, so yeah, it's one of those things of like you got to pick your owners. Like
Right.
if you're doing this side and you're doing pet sitting, just based off my experience, I would probably set those expectations up beforehand, maybe put that in your onboarding form. Like if there's an emergency, here are my fees. But if it's not your fault and the dog is just vomiting diarrhea, we don't know why. And now you're going to be sitting at a veterinary clinic for 2 to 3 hours, you want to be paid, but you don't want to necessarily ask for it when we're already unexpectedly having expenses. So I would maybe put that in your onboarding form. Think of an hourly rate and a mileage, whatever the state says for mileage, and an hourly rate that you would like to be paid. And just put that in the emergency section of your onboarding form, maybe along with the emergency contacts, who's your veterinarians, like right there. So all the information is there. And they know that if something happens, we're going to be paying for our pet sitter's time because, like Jen said, if you find a pet sitter and house sitter that you like, that you can trust, that your animals like they're worth their weight in gold. I feel like
Hmm.
so, and I
Yeah.
know I have one company around
And
here
I
that's
go on
really good.
vacation a lot.
You do.
So,
I
yeah.
love you do. And so I know she's already got a couple of trips planning. So yeah, so
And I
nice.
want my
So
dogs to be taken care of. And yeah.
yeah. I get it. Yeah. I use a boarding facility. I really like a boarding facility by me. So I use them actually. Bronson, he's so happy. He goes in a group play. So I don't have anybody come into my home. As Kiki gets older, I'm going to have to change that though. I'm already looking at changing that for November when we go to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
'Cause she's too old for, to be in there now. So I'm
Yeah.
actually,
My
yeah.
dogs just do so much better at home, especially my older golden. He has really bad anxiety in certain situations. And I know he has really bad anxiety when I'm gone. So I know that if I was gone and he wasn't at home, like he would just be a mess. So it's just easier for him. And I have a doggy door. So him and my other one, and even the cats, they can go in and out as they please. So usually with my house sitters, it's fairly easy. They could even be gone for hours and hours, and it's fine because my dogs can go in and out whenever they please. It's mostly just feeding. And we've tried the whole like, oh, you don't have to stay, you can just come and feed them. No, that did not work out. My dogs do not like that. They want somebody to be there, at least to spend the night. Because we had that done once, and my Labradoodle started eating my couch. So we were like, okay, we're not going to do that again. But now that we have Todd with the puppy, he has to be in a crate. So that's going to be a different situation now for a while because we're probably not going to let him out of his crate until he's very well trained and we know for sure that he's not going to destroy the house or get into anything dangerous while we're gone. So that's going to be a whole different ball game now.
Yes. I'm sure just knowing you're going to get it all worked out. You're pretty on top of these things.
Yeah,
I watch how you do. Like you're going to get Todd figured out before that pet sitter comes in. So, yes. So, well, I hope that helped. I hope that was some good information from me and Jen on what to do in a pet sitting situation. There was a few responses for that gal, so hopefully she's getting the help and resources that she needs. Good
perfect.
luck. Yes. Right.
What was the
So
consensus? Were people saying definitely charge?
I think so. If I go back in there, I'm pretty sure I saw people saying definitely charge. Let me see here. Not charge. It depends. Usually I charge. I would never charge. I would charge. It's going back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Only if it's really far away. Yes, but I have my client's card under file. Smart Daphne. I don't typically charge, but I think it's fine to do so. Owners pay the vet directly. Typically, if they're my care, I won't charge. So there's back and forth on that
Okay,
post. Yeah. So looks like she's got some good information in there too. So that's good.
cool.
I'm glad a lot of people came in to help out on that one because I could see where that one's a sticky situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So this week, I love this topic. Oh my God. This is like one of my toughest topics because it can be a difficult one, but it's when to say goodbye to a client or a clinic. Now, I could tell you what it was like to say goodbye to a clinic when I was a technician, but I'm sure Jen has a wonderful point of view that's going to be much different from mine because this is her business versus I was a regular employee. But I have a lot of instances where I had to say goodbye to long term clients and it was uncomfortable. It was not something I wanted to do, but it was something I had to do to protect myself, my business, and the pets and the humans that were involved in this. So it's a tough subject for me, at least. I have a few good examples, and I have reasons why these are my examples. And I know a lot of my clients listen to this because I will walk into my clients' homes. I'm like, hey, Michelle, I heard your podcast. I'm like, oh, God, please don't tell me you have your kids in the car. Like, because I swear a lot. So I just want to say if any of my clients are listening, I have a little disclaimer that I wanted to read out for you guys who are listening. So, while 90% of the humans I interact with are very lovely, occasionally that is not always the case. In these interactions that I'm going to be discussing, I truly believe it'll help other mobile vet techs. I will not be disclosing any information about these clients as I still want to be respectful of them and thankful for the opportunity that they gave me. Sometimes it does not always work out in the business world for many reasons, and that's okay. I want to turn these negative experiences into a valuable lesson for other vet techs. So I feel like for me, it's going to be kind of heavy in a couple of these subjects, which is why I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't want this to be where I'm being negative on clients because each one of these, it was hard for me to let them go.
Hmm.
But it's a very valuable lesson that I want to show other vet techs if I had reasons and it sucks. I don't know how to say it, just sucks. And the two biggest umbrella reasons is liability and just blatant disrespect. And I feel like the liability ones were the painful ones. So, as a small business, even in relief, I feel like you have standard operating procedures, you have boundaries for a reason, and that is to protect you, the pets, and the pet owners and the clinics. You just lay those out so that way we're all on the same page. And when those are broken, that's when issues start to happen. One of the first examples I have is with a lady, and she was like one of my first clients. She was close to her 80s when I started seeing her. And over the course of probably 2 years, I noticed that her judgment was starting to decline a little bit. Every time I came over, it went from taking out the trash because I would come over every Thursday. That was her day, which was also her trash day. So she would always ask me to take it out. I mean, she was like 80 something, so it's hard for her to take out the trash. No worries, not a problem. I can do that. But then it evolved into me. One time she asked me to put a clock up for her because she couldn't reach up there and I had to stand up on a stool and I almost fell over. One time she got really, really sick and I walked into her house. I told her I was on her way. I sent her the message saying, hey, I'm on my way to your house, but I didn't get a response back. And I knocked on the door. All I could hear was her saying, I'm here, and her sweet little, granny voice. I walked in and she was slumped over in the chair with vomit everywhere. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh my God, let's call an ambulance. What's going on? And she's like, no, no, I'm fine. I just couldn't reach the phone. And of course, I got her phone and then I cleaned up human vomit, which I've never done before, and gave her some water. And by the time I left, she was feeling better. I contacted the only person that she knows in the area. She doesn't have any kids in the area. She doesn't have a husband. It's just her and her dog and her cat. And after that, she became very forgetful of things, like extremely forgetful. And that's when I made the unfortunate decision to stop seeing her. And it was not a good situation because I liked her. I genuinely liked her. But at this point in time, every time I'm coming over, I'm doing chores, tasks, cleaning up vomit. She's forgetting. She needed more help than what I could offer. So I fortunately had a contact for her, which is another pet owner from my dog's daycare. So I actually had to reach out to my dog's daycare center and be like, hey, we have a mutual client. I need her number. I don't know anybody else for this lady. And I told her, like, I can no longer service her. I think she needs more help. Hard, but necessary. I
Yeah, oh,
just
that's a tough one.
that was a tough
Oh,
one.
that's sad.
Yeah, that was sad. And yeah, so again, it was something I didn't want to do, but I had to do for the safety of myself, the business, and her. And I hope that she's doing well. I haven't heard from her since, and I truly do hope she's doing well. God bless that lady. She's super sweet. So yeah, that's when I'm like, it's hard, but it's necessary.
Mm.
The next one is another liability case, and it's when they don't follow directions. Oh my God. Follow my directions, Father God. I have directions for safety reasons of myself, the pet owners, the pets. If I say to do something in my onboarding form, I expect for it to be done. And I had, again, another little old lady with a cat. I have noticed that that is a very difficult demographic for me to work with are little old ladies with their cats. Usually they're pretty set in their ways. And I have been asked a few times to revolve my schedule around kitty cat nap time. And that's a for real thing. Like I know I see that face, right? It's not uncommon for little ladies. They want, oh yeah. If Fluffy goes to sleep from 9 a.m. to 12, you best bet I better not come between 9 and 12. It's true. It's true, Jen. I'm sorry. It's true. Okay.
I
So,
I I I have lots to say, and people who know me very well who are listening to this know. They already know. So, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut with this.
yeah, there's a couple of them. I will say this though. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. That should have been my first warning sign with this client. Um, and I have on my kitty cat onboarding form, cats must be isolated. You can either put them in a bathroom with a towel or a blanket, or you can leave them free roaming, but all exits must be closed off. You need to shut all the doors to
Yeah, that makes
bedrooms,
sense.
bathrooms, basements. Exactly. Because what's going to happen, you walk
They're
into
gonna
a
run,
home, they're going to run.
and you don't have time to chase them
Yeah.
and pull them out from underneath the bed.
Mm-hmm.
That's not your job.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not my job. I don't like doing that. And by the time you pull the cat out from underneath the bed, they're
They're angry.
pissed. Oh,
Yeah,
they're mad. They're
yeah.
mad. Yep, they're mad. Yeah. So I, and it's unfortunate because I've had that happen many times and not. And that's one of my biggest like pet peeves is like people who see my onboarding instructions and they don't want to do it because they think they know better. It's one thing to be like, oh, shoot, I forgot. No worries. It won't happen again versus I know my own cat, which is what this lady had done.
Okay.
I, yeah, I had to let her go
I mean,
after.
that makes complete sense to me. I'd be like, okay, well, if you think that you know better and you don't want to listen to me, then it sounds like we're not the right fit
We're not the right fit. Exactly. And again, standard operating procedures are in place for the
for a
safety of
reason.
myself, the cats, and you, the owners.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this one, she just thought she knew better. And the first time I came over, the cat was in the bathroom. Everything went fine. And then after that, she said, hey, the cat gets stressed out too much, so I'm going to leave it free roaming. I said, that's fine. But the cat, the first time, went up underneath the couch. And this woman's like, gosh, she got to be 90. Like, she was old. Like, she was old. And luckily, she did have a young woman come over to help me. And guess what we did? We lifted the damn couch.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
no, that's not good for
Yeah.
you.
Nope. So yeah, the first time we lifted up the couch and I was strong in my words. Hey, as my onboarding form states, and I told her wrap up some towels, wrap up some blankets, stuff the damn couch a couple days before I come over. I come over the next month and once again, she's like, I thought she would just sit here. And I'm like, "Ugh," and then we're lifting up the couch again. And I was like, next month, I really need you to do this. And I looked at the woman who came over and I was like, please make sure she does this. I'm not lifting up this couch again. Like, I'm
mm-hmm.
pretty serious on this one. Not to mention, underneath the couch, and again, I'm going to not disclose any information. A lot of times with some of these cats, when you go under the bed or under the couch, there's feces and urine under there. That's not the first time that's happened. And
Oh
I'm over
my
here.
gosh.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. And it was, once we lifted the couch, it was pretty potent under there. And another reason why I don't want to be going behind the couch.
Oh my.
I came, yeah, yeah. To be fair, I don't think she knew. To be
Oh,
fair,
okay.
I have a feeling she truly didn't know because she was older.
Yeah.
And once you get used to a smell, like you don't smell anymore. So to be
Yeah.
fair, she probably was unaware of the situation, but I made sure to point it out and be like, hey, I'm not diving in on this anymore. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And my third visit, and what do you know? I walked in the door, cat was under the couch. I'm like, this is it, we're done. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is my
Yep.
last time. I've asked you 3 times now.
Mhm.
And she's kept on saying, well, I thought she would. I've told you every time.
Right.
I've been doing this for 4 years. This is all I do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know more than you in this situation, and I'm done.
Yeah.
But here's the terrible part. I threw my back out on that last time.
Oh my
And I was
gosh.
pissed. Like, I managed to get through the rest of the day, but I felt it like 2 appointments later. And
That
luckily for
twinge.
oh, yeah, it was sore. Like, I was, like, cracking my back, and I went to another owner's house, and my back was killing me. And luckily, she was like, "Oh, I got some Motrin 800s." So I was like, "Oh, yes, please." Like, they're not narcotic, obviously. So I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Please, thank." And she saved my ass, by the way, Nicole with Nora. Thank you for that. She saved my ass that day because I don't think I was going to make it. And I was still a little bit sore the next day. So again, I have these procedures in place. So I let go of that client for liability reasons.
Mhm.
She wasn't going to listen to me. She thought she knew better than me. She never listened to me, and I got an injury out of it. And
Yeah.
I'm fine now, but still, it teed me off because she wouldn't freaking listen, and I got an injury because of it. So
Right.
if a client's not going to listen to your onboarding instructions because you are the professional and they think they know better, let them go. Liability. Another big liability, I actually was going to do like a 3-part TikTok on this one. And this one's pretty hardcore, is when, and it's sad, when they're mentally unstable. That is a dangerous situation. If you suspect your client is mentally unstable, you need to find a way out of that situation and find it fast. And it sucks because I don't want to deny access to care, but I'm not going to put myself in danger. And I did have a lady who I believe had a lot of severe, how am I going to put this, Jen? She had a lot of severe mental psychosis.
Instability?
Yeah, seemed very unstable, and I had some warning signs, and I ignored them, and I almost got burned in the end, and luckily I didn't. But if you believe that your client is mentally unstable, for your safety, let them go. And it's sad. It's sad because it's hard, because even if they might be good people, and
Yeah.
I had to let go of a lady who I knew was mentally unstable. I had to let go of her, and towards the end, she was cracking. Like, her mental state was getting darker and darker.
Hmm.
And her dog, I believe her dog had an osteosarcoma, I believe, but she couldn't afford vet care. And the dog was limping for months, and she went from love bombing me in a crazy way. And I always try to find a way to back off. And I was trying to find a way to let her go because she was starting to scare me a little bit. Every time I would come over, she was always crying. Um, Her house was a complete hoarding situation. I mean, there were tunnels, like, y'all, there were tunnels. It was always cold because she couldn't afford heat. She had towels on the walls, but she was nice and she was pleasant. So I, for like a year and a half, let it fly, even though I knew I was like playing with fire. Like, I'm like, one day she's going to turn the other way. Like, and I'd always try to keep our conversations light, but then she would drag it into a family issue and start crying, or that she's alone and start crying. And I'd always try to brighten it up. And I knew one day she was going to turn on me. So I was actively trying to find a way to like let her go and find a way out of the situation. But she started blaming her dog's injury on me. Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I told her when that dog was limping, you need to go get an x-ray on that dog. She took the dog to the vet. They didn't do an x-ray. I don't know why. I wish to God they would have. I come back the next month and she's like, it's just strange how that happened right after you came around. And I'm like, uh-oh. Like, I knew. I was like, oh boy, we're going here. And yeah, she was like, it's just really strange how it happened. But she's like, I'm not blaming you. I'm like, okay, I got to find a way to get rid of her because I don't like the way that this is going. And this is, by the way, like a very large breed dog who's like 12, 13 years old. All right.
Yeah.
And it's limping. And each month I come over, the limping's getting worse and worse. And I only went there like twice after that. And finally, our last appointment, I'm telling you, scared the shit out of me. She sent me a message saying, we're not going to do the dog that's limping. Don't talk about that dog. Don't mention that dog. Don't. And I'm like, okay, we're just going to do her other dog who's young, healthy, but not the dog that's had the limping problems. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be weird. So I go into the house. There's no sign of the dog. that dog is gone. Like, and she has a very, very small hoarded house. This dog can't hide anywhere. It's a massive dog. There's nowhere for this dog to hide. And I'm like, I can't ask her about it. I told her I wouldn't. And she had no signs of crying, no signs of being in disarray. She did not bring up that dog, and neither did I. And right before I left, she was like, she looked right into my eyes, like pierced through my soul, Jen. And she was like, it's just strange how that started after you came around. I still don't know what happened to that dog. Like, I don't know if she had to, like, honestly, like, I hate to say this, like, find a way to do it because she couldn't afford veterinary care. And there was no signs of that dog. And luckily for me, I was like, all right, I'm going to text her and let her know that I can no longer come out on late nights because she was like a 4:20 appointment. And I was going to tell her, hey, I now have something going on Tuesdays. Unfortunately, I won't be able to service you. And so when I texted her, she was like, oh, it's okay. I have a doctor's appointment anyway. And never once in a year and a half did she ever cancel on me. And I was like, this is my out. This is my out. And I never heard from her. But I could see the progressiveness of love bombing me in the beginning, like I was a good friend. And of course, I chatted with her. I liked her. She was nice. She was always so nice. That's what is upsetting. But I also knew because she gave me, I don't know if I didn't say this, but she gave me a care package on our second appointment, which was a
Oh,
box. Yeah, sweet. But it was our second appointment. And it was a box consisting of used clothes from the Salvation Army that still had tags on them. And some sleazy romance novels. So they were like from the 90s with like the risque covers. And I tried telling her, no, I don't want this stuff. And she's like, no, no, I insist. You're the best. You're the best. I'm like, oh boy. So like love bombing in the beginning and then crying on my shoulder every time. The hoarded house. It was just, I knew something was wrong.
oh man, that's a story right there.
Yeah.
Oh
That
my
I
God.
still want to know what happened to that
That
dog.
like
Like
gives me chills.
yeah. And I'm lucky because I look at it this way.
That
I
poor
know
dog. Ugh. Every time you told me these stories, though, I just feel for the little animals.
I know. But here's the thing is like, she truly loved that dog, but I don't think she could afford to do much with that dog. And that's the scary part.
Yeah.
And she was cold. That last appointment I saw her, bro, there was something going on behind those eyes. I was like,
Ugh, that's scary.
and my thought process is like, if she was really violent, she could have attacked me over that. If
Right.
she really thinks that I did something with her dog to cause this dog's limping issues, and again, we have a 12-year-old large breed dog, no x-rays, and I begged her to get x-rays, but I knew she couldn't afford them.
Right. I mean, she had to have declined it. They had to. I mean, I don't know what vet clinic doesn't recommend blood work and x-rays in almost every single vet visit.
Yeah, to be fair, the veterinarian in our area that she goes to is kind of like old school doc, so it wouldn't surprise me if she just
Um,
said, oh, here's some CBD and come back.
some
It,
carprofen or something.
it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, like, but I don't know because
Yeah.
she told me, she's like, you can't talk about it. And I'm like, oh, I won't. I expect to at least see the dog there. That dog was gone.
Weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's
And
like some like Twilight Zone shit.
yeah, and that's the thing is like, I'll never know, but looking back, she was a nice, good person.
Yeah.
I will always say that. But she could have flipped on me in a violent way.
Yeah.
That's the scary part behind that
Right.
is I was putting myself in a physically dangerous situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, if you do believe that your client, and again, this is heavy subject, so I hate saying this, if you believe your client is unsafe, you need to end that relationship as fast as you can. I took a little bit longer, but now moving forward, if I see these warning signs of a person who's mentally unstable, I'm going to unfortunately cut them off a lot quicker now after that. So, I mean, that's the biggest things that you would want to end a relationship with the client if you've been seeing them for long term is liability. Another thing is if you feel they're disrespecting your business. I've had that where I fired a client because she would never pay me on time. Never. Every month I'd have to beg for my money and I would get it 2 or 3 days later. I put up with that for about a year until I finally said, I'm not doing this with you anymore.
When do you
I,
usually require payment? Is it before or like right after your appointment?
it's right after or during. Usually it's like I'm walking out the door and they Venmo me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't do payment plans. Actually, with that last client I told you about,
Mm-hmm.
the one with the mental issues, I actually did payment plans there because she was so cash stricken. And
Okay.
so, yeah, I mean, she was the only one of the very few. But no, when I service you. I expect to be paid that day at the appointment, right after the appointment. I
Mhm.
don't like having to chase my payment down. It's an
Yeah, that's
awkward
fair.
situation for me. And it does happen with some people once or twice. I've done it myself.
Yeah.
This shit was every month.
Oh, okay.
And here's what made it even more of a pain. She actually, during the duration that I was seeing her, she got a promotion at her job, and her job was to do office management work, like paying bills. I'm
Yikes.
like, you can pay everybody else on time, but not me. All right. So yeah, I let her go. And actually she messaged me. That was like a year ago. And she actually sent me a message like on July 1st, asked me if I'd babysit her dog. I'm like, yeah, right. Uh, first of all, if I did babysit, I would still tell you no. Second of all, I'm not going to refer you to the good people that I know that pet sit because I'm not going to refer a client that doesn't pay on time to the pet sitters I like. So I told her I am no longer pet sitting. I haven't seen you in a year. Best of luck. Find somebody else. But it just felt so disrespectful of every month. I'm like, hey, can you please send me that Venmo? And it literally come like 2 or 3 days later. I'm like,
Would she
and
say
I,
that she forgot or something?
yeah, she would always say I forgot. And I would, as I'm like walking out the door, I'm like, hey, Mrs. Smith, don't forget to Venmo me. Your next appointment is, 4 weeks from now, but please Venmo me tonight. I'll be closing out my books. And then surely I would get home 8 hours later because she was like probably like one of the first ones of the day. I would get home at the end of day and I would have to text her. She wouldn't respond. She would send it the next morning or the day after. And I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done. You've disrespected me and my business too many times where I'm like, you got to
Mhm.
go.
Yeah.
So, yep, I let her go. I was like, nope, it's just blatant disrespect at this time.
Right.
So, the other reason why I would fire or let go of a long term client is if you catch them lying. To me, that is disrespectful. Don't lie to me. You're my client because you trust me and I trust you. We have a relationship just like any other relationship. If I'm seeing you once a month, like there's no reason to lie to me. Like there's not. And I had a client who she was a good client. I was seeing her for about 6 months and then she canceled her appointment, said, oh, I'll get back to you. And I'm like, okay, not a worry. I didn't hear back from her, so I didn't reach out. One day in the community groups, I saw her recommending another mobile nail lady, and she's actually the good one in the area. I like her. She's been around longer than me, and she's well established. And I was like, oh, she's seeing her now. Okay, it sucked. I liked her. I didn't know why, but I didn't ask. And about 4 months after that, she sent me a message and she's like, hey, Michelle, I would love to get back on your schedule. One of my friends had opened up a shop for a little bit and then she closed down. So that's the only reason why I stopped seeing you. And I'm like, liar. I'm like, because I know the person that you were seeing because you recommended them in the community groups. And that person has been open longer than I have been. So why would you be seeing me in the first place? So lie. So I didn't respond to her. I was like, I'm not seeing you. I'm not bringing you back clients. Like, if she was honest with me, it's like, hey, I tried out so and so, it didn't work out, or
Mhm.
they fired me for whatever reason. I would have been like, okay, no problem. Come back on in. I'll get you back in on your next rotation date. But she lied, and that's like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that. So honesty, if your clients are gonna lie to you, that's disrespect. That is not having a good relationship. It's just like if you have a relationship with a friend or a husband, you don't want them lying to you. So I wouldn't want
Right.
that for
Oh,
my
yeah.
clients either. Same thing. I'm seeing you once a month. Please don't lie to me. Like,
Right.
don't. I will find your lies and I'll be upset.
Right.
Um, and finally, the reason why I let go of a client again is, and if you watch any of my TikToks or if you're in the groups, like, don't cancel on me at the last minute over and over again for non-urgent matters. That will tick me off fast. I get people who cancel at the last minute all the time, but it's like, if this client only cancels on me once within like a 6 month time span, I don't bat an eye on it because stuff happens.
Yeah.
But if it's reoccurring over and over again and it's, oh, I forgot, or, oh, hey, Michelle, I have a PTA meeting. I know you said between 2 and 4, but can you please come between 2 and 2:30? I had a client doing that every month. There's something like that. And I liked her. I was seeing her for about a year and a half. And as she got more involved with her kids' school, it became more and more of an issue every month. Like, and she knew what she was doing. I had many conversations with her. I was like, hey, I can't survive off you cancel at the last minute. Like, please let me know these things 2 days ahead of time.
Mhm.
And my last straw was every year she goes on spring break because she's in the school districts. So she knows when her spring break is.
Yeah.
She canceled her appointment the month before and was like, I need to get on for next month. The nails are bad. By this point, I'm not rescheduling her in a couple days. I'm making her wait a month because I'm trying to like not train my clients, but let her know I'm not going to be available at the drop of a dime anymore. Like, you got to now wait. This is
Right.
a part of me saying I'm not going to.
Your boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries. And my last message to her was when she said, I was like, hey, I'm just confirming our appointment tomorrow. She's like, oh, shoot, I forgot. I'm on vacation. Can we go on for next month? And I was like, no. I just said no. Nope, not doing it. That's like the second in a row, but probably the fourth out of 7 months where she was like, hey, I know you said between 2 and 4, but now I need between 2 and 2:30, or now I'm only going to be home for this hour. Like, it was always her trying to get me to revolve my schedule around her kids' extracurricular activities. And I had many conversations with her. And it sucks because I do like her. She was nice. She was pleasant. But I have set schedules. You know when I'm coming for all of infinity. Your schedule stays the same when you're on a rotation. If
Mhm.
you can't put it on your phone as a reoccurring event and you always forget, I'm not going to be happy about that.
Right.
And oddly enough, I ran into her at the grocery store a couple weeks ago. So this was like kind of fresh in my mind. And she saw me and she's like, oh, hi. I'm like, oh, hey. She's like, oh, bye. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you didn't have to say hi to me in the first place. Like, you could have just kept on scrolling. That would have been less awkward.
Right.
And then she's at the cash out lane next to me. And I could hear her talking to the cashier. And she was like, oh, I'm a PTA mom. I'm so busy. I'm involved in this and this. And I'm like, are you saying that very loudly to make sure I'm hearing you? Because you see me like one aisle, like at the next cash register. And I felt like she was trying to do that so I could hear it. And I'm like, this is fucking awkward. I'm like, this is really weird. I'm like, so, and again, I liked her, but she was disrespecting my schedule over and over and over again to the point
Yeah.
where I just said, no, we're
Yeah.
done. I can't do it anymore. So yeah, it's for me, a lot of it's liability and disrespect. If you're going to disrespect my time, my money, my schedule over and over and over again, you're going to be done. I give a lot of chances.
Well, yeah, because people treat it like, oh, well, they're desperate for work, so they should just be lucky enough and they'll do whatever I want and they'll work with me. And it's like, no, I mean, it's not like that anymore. And maybe it used to be that way, but who did that really help? It just taught people that they can treat us however they want to and we'll just let it happen. And
Yeah.
if you don't want, like, yeah, no,
No,
absolutely not. People
no.
need to just be kinder and they need to have the common decency and they need to respect other people's times. People do not respect other people's times
No.
enough. That is not a thing. And I feel like with me and you, I think that we've learned from each other that we're totally that person just because of
Yeah.
how much we communicate with each other. If there's any change in our schedule or if there's any change in like what the time's going to be, like we're always like letting each other know like, hey, this is what's happening and I'm so sorry. And just like, because yeah, it's frustrating.
We
It,
respect each other.
yeah.
Yeah. And it is. It's frustrating. And Jen, I do think you're right. That I feel like there's this self-fulfilling feeling that people get when they're quote unquote supporting a small business. I feel a lot of people think that when they support a small business, they're doing them a favor. And yes, thank you. As a small business, we do. But at the same time, a lot of us who do own our own business, we have pretty hefty boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and we have to stick with them or else we're losing money.
Right.
And I'm a very prideful person. I'm not going to beg any client for their time, their money. I'm not going to do it. I have too much respect for myself and the business that I created.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think you're doing me a favor, you're not.
Yeah.
Um, you're not. So yeah, and I just want to reiterate to any of my clients who listen, because again, I know my clients like to listen. I feel like they're like getting a behind the scenes look. So they like to listen. If this happens once or twice, it does not hit my radar. It's when it's a chronic problem, it
Right.
hits my radar. Whether
Yeah.
it's
There's a
yeah,
difference.
yeah. There's a huge difference between, oh shoot, this is happening. I'm so sorry. well, hey, you've never canceled on me in a year. You're fine. I'm not even thinking about it too. Every other month, I'm like, are we gonna show up this time? Are we gonna pay me on time? So there's a huge difference
Mhm.
in that. So yeah, for at least being a mobile vet tech, it would take a lot of disrespect or a lot of liability issues for me to say goodbye to a client. It would take a lot for me to gather that up and say goodbye to a long-term client.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
seems fair. Those all seem like fair reasons.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't think those are crazy reasons. I think that
Okay.
I would have done the same.
Good, because sometimes I feel like I'm too quick to fire
And you
people too.
probably gave them more chances than I would have.
Yeah, both of them. The one who didn't pay me on time and the one who kept on canceling, both of them, I feel like I gave them way too many chances. And I feel like when you're a mobile business, they feel like, oh, you can just skip me. It's okay. I'm just a skip. And when they say, oh, you can skip me, I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's not skipping you. It's I scheduled time for you.
Right.
It's not just, oh, okay, no worries. It's like, no, I have X amount of time in my day. It
Mhm.
needs to be filled. So I'm not just skipping you. I'm now missing out on money that I counted on.
Right.
And not to mention also it's kind of disrespectful to your route buddies because then it throws their time off. So yeah, it takes a lot. And you're right. I think a couple of them I did give too many choices.
But
I
that's
did
how
give
you
too many
learn.
chances. Yeah, that's how I learned. And now I don't do it as much. And it
Right.
took a lot for each one of these clients that I've listed. It took a lot for me to let them go with love
Yeah.
and to say goodbye to them. It
Yeah.
is especially the older folks on this list. That was hard. And
Yeah.
the liability issues, that was hard.
Yeah.
The disrespect, that wasn't as hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that
So
makes sense.
yeah, I hope those are perfect. I won't say that. I hope those are good learning stories for any mobile vet techs out there. Is you gotta make sure you're safe. You gotta make sure you're being respected. You gotta make sure that you keep to your standard operating procedures for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
To protect yourself.
Yes.
Hey everyone, it's Jen from Endless Journeys, the Vet Tech Odyssey podcast. We wanted to let you know that our first episode turned out to be a bit longer than we expected. After receiving some valuable feedback, we decided it would be best to break it into 2 parts to make it more digestible and enjoyable for you guys. We're excited to share that both part 1 and part 2 are available today, so you can dive right into the full conversation at your own pace. We really appreciate your support, and we hope you enjoy both parts of this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to Endless Journeys, the Vet Tech Odyssey podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found some valuable insights. If you did, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave us a review and let us know what you think. You can also connect with us on all social media platforms at Endless Journeys, the Vet Tech Odyssey podcast. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a positive impact in the veterinary world. We need you guys. Have a great day.